Hello everybody and welcome to Dinner Date. This is a game that was given to us by Owen Patterson, the first subscriber to ever send me a gift. Thank you, Owen Patterson. Without further ado, let's dive into what I can only describe as a stodgy, pretentious British twats version of a Japanese dating simulator. You are about to hear the most exciting and most intense dialogue in the entirety of the game, so I'm just going to be silent for a few moments here.
That is how the Japanese call a clock. I'm quite sure she taught me that. It's a curious thing to do. Most foreigners just teach her how to count.
Yes, you've just been listening to main character Julian. Now, you don't control Julian in this game, you control his subconscious. So as you can see here, a series of QuickTime events pop up, and I'm capable of making him look around at, for instance, the clock, or the bottle of wine on the table, or any of the other 10 interesting items in this room that are specifically set out for me to look at.
I need to start focusing on work. Yeah, I really need this date. It's good. And Jerry's going to be angry if I mess it up too, the way he arranged it.
So as you may have guessed, Julian, the main character, is a 27-year-old virgin who's been stood up on his date, I assume it's a first date, and hopefully the last, with a beautiful Japanese girl that he's expecting to show up. To be honest, I wouldn't have showed up either, given his tendency to be the most annoying son of a bitch on the face of the planet, but whatever, it's a good enough motivation for the game to keep moving along. I can move his hands around like, I don't know, some kind of bizarre, otherworldly marionette. Which is, of course, in and of itself a problem, because as you can see here, it actually looks like his hand is being pulled by bizarre puppet strings from outer space or something. Julian doesn't exactly move the way you would expect a human being to move, but that's not even his biggest problem. His biggest problem is that he's, well, boring. And he's the only character you're going to interact with throughout the rest of this game. Regretting the fact that I said that you're going to see this game in its entirety yet? Well, you're going to, don't worry about it. Let's go on.
I can't remember what I've had for lunch. I was doing that report. Not that Marianne will read that until Friday. Just good to have done still.
Who in the right mind decided that it was a good idea to have a game where the character exposes about his day at work? Not only do I not care about this guy, I don't even know who the fuck he is yet, because all the exposition has been about dumb shit like what he did or didn't eat for lunch. Now he's talking about having sex with somebody, God knows what the fuck that's all about. But anyway, this game is about dating, so maybe that's the kind of thing I should have expected.
Yeah, go on then. It will stop me from thinking so much.
Wait, is he trying to talk himself into having a glass of wine? If I had this guy's life, I'd be drunk 24/7. And this is his first glass, but yet I'm pretty sure he's about to get plastered off of it because we're having a blackout session. He blacked out before he even drank his first glass of wine. No wonder this guy's getting stood up. So once he comes out of his, I don't know, coma, you can tap more buttons and look around his super exciting kitchen at the various items that are laying around, in preparation for the meal he's about to have.
I feel a bit bad about starting to eat. Can't just drink wine though. Will it look odd? I'll just pretend I didn't when the door rings. Should be time enough. I'll just go, just a minute.
So ignoring the fact that this idiot is living in a fantasy world where the girl is still gonna show up, surely he must have had some other kind of a backup plan, some exciting thing he could have been doing?
I don't know, just eating bread by myself here. If I had just let it be dancing with the guys.
Man, this guy needs a date worse than I thought. His alternative is dancing with other men. Oh well, I'll just tap a few buttons here and there and get him to dip his bread into some red sauce. I then have the exciting option of whether or not I put it down on the plate or pick it up and eat it. Yeah, this game's stunning, folks. I get to decide whether or not I dip bread and then eat it, or put it down on a plate. Someone probably should have told the developers that if you were going to make a simulation game, maybe you shouldn't have made Sim Loser 2012. I mean, quite frankly, this could be the worst thing anybody's ever seen, and it's just getting started. We're only a few minutes into this thing, and I'm already finding it hard to find things to commentate on. I mean, this is a video game that's more video than game. Quite frankly, it'd be easier to review a game for the Philips CDI. At least there was a bit of gameplay in those things. Plumbers Wear Ties is a better game than this, and, well, if you know anything about that game, that isn't saying much. As you can see here, I have a lot of options floating around the room. W, A, F, N, G, H, Q. Most of them are just repetitive actions that I could have already done once, but you're allowed to do them over and over again. They won't have a differing result, but you may as well try them, because, you know, you have to be as bored as the main character in this game. Maybe part of the problem is that we just don't know enough about Julian. I mean, he is supposed to be the person we're living inside the subconscious of. Maybe some amazing piece of dialogue will come along soon and grip us and really rivet us to his story. Let's have a listen, shall we?
When will I read poetry to someone anyway? Well, probably would be wasted on Micah. Nothing under 120 BPM can please her. Wouldn't mind giving her something over 120 BPM.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Yeah, you would. You give it to her good, over 120 BPM. Wait a minute, is that a reference to beating her? I'm not quite following. Nah, that can't possibly be what you mean, right?
I do want sex with her, though.
Well, I guess at least he's clear on what he wants. I mean, he's inviting this woman over to his house for,
It's nice to think of.
I don't know, bread and red stuff. And then he expects to be getting laid, so, you know, all in all, it's going to be a great night if she ever shows up, which, of course, she won't, because who the hell would? It's right about now that I realize that maybe we should have stood up this game as much as she stood him up. Anyway, there's got to be something that's got some kind of redeeming value here. I mean, surely there isn't going to be an entire game where all I do is eat bread and talk about my day. So let's have a little look-see and figure out if we can get any deeper into the rabbit hole that is dinner date. I mean, surely someone somewhere must have wrote some better comment for him to say than something useful. Let's take a listen and see if maybe he can surprise us with something exciting that he could tell us.
Well, fuck Jerry.
Whoa, strong words. Actually, I didn't see that one coming. Maybe this guy's actually got a little bit more depth to him than I thought. Let's have a look-see and figure out what the hell he's going to do next. Maybe he's finally decided he wants to go all Rambo up in this shit and start blowing people away until she shows up. Then again, maybe all he's going to do is keep eating his bread. Ugh, I swear to God, this game does not get any better. Alright, well, I have the option of having another glass of wine, so maybe we'll try doing that. I mean, he's already blacked out once, so what's the worst thing that we could possibly do to him other than have him, I don't know, black out again? Surely there's no way possible that... And there he goes. Son of a bitch, this guy has got to be the lightest weight person on Earth. So, once you come out of your second coma, soup mysteriously has appeared on the table here. And now you get the most exciting thing ever. Soup Simulator 2012. Yes, folks, now you too can simulate whether or not you decide to take a giant gulp of soup, or perhaps you'd like to just stir the soup around. Ever wonder to yourself what it would look like if you just watch somebody stir soup incessantly for minutes on end? Well, you could do that in this game. Or you could drink the entire bowl of soup, except for the fact that the level of soup never goes down, no matter how much you eat. I wonder how much of a budget this game had. I mean, surely they could have found a way to get correct soup physics. It's not exactly like you need an engineer or a rocket scientist to figure out that once you've taken soup out of the bowl, the level of soup should go down. But I'm expecting a little too much realism out of what is effectively just a postcard that has some storyline to it, so let's continue on with our adventure through Julian's nightmare. Or, you know, day-to-day life, my nightmare, whichever way that works out for you, I suppose. I'm going to take a lull in the action here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And just kind of discuss the controls. Look at this. I mean, I'm going to have a seizure the way the screen keeps shaking back and forth like that, and I literally have 15 different buttons I can push, but they all do relatively the same thing. I can pick up more bread, I can dip it, I can stir the soup, but nothing gives me any kind of feedback as to whether or not I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. There's no little ding-dong whenever you do something right, and there's no bah whenever you do something wrong. So effectively, you have no idea whether or not you're actually progressing the story.
They are right, really. I should just go out with them, instead of quoting Byron to myself. Get a few drinks down, dance with someone, pull a girl, pull a chick.
The only indication is that you continuously hear new things from Julian, but to be honest with you, I'm not sure if pulling a chick is really a progression of the storyline or not. I mean, he could go into an endless loop and just discuss a bunch of inane bullshit, and it wouldn't make any difference because his life is inane bullshit. This game just continuously throws more and more of his useless crap at you. I effectively know now what a therapist feels like whenever they have one of the most boring people in the world in their office. I wonder if some of those therapists ever considered going home and putting a gun in their mouth, because that's what this game makes me feel like doing. But then every once in a while, it'll throw you a little bit of excitement like this piece of garbage right here.
Yeah, they should invent an app for that.
Well, they do say there's an app for everything, so maybe they will invent an app for that, Julian. I mean, you could probably write one. You've got a lot of free time on your hands because you keep getting stood up, huh? But, you know, maybe I'm being a little too hard on the guy. I mean, we don't know what he looks like, but I'm sure he's not exactly hideous, and he does work with an awful lot of people, so you would think that he'd be good with, you know, personal skills. So I just can't see why somebody would want to stand this guy up, other than the fact that he's boring, but she must have known that going in.
God knows the Japanese can't hold a liquor.
Hey, dipshit, maybe she didn't show up for your date because you're being a little bit racist. Yeah, Japanese can't hold their liquor. Hey, here's an idea. Why don't you call her Slant Eyes the next time you see her, you piece of shit.
Is that all it is now?
No, you son of a bitch, that's how it's been for a while. Your game sucks, and quite frankly, you're forcing me to have a conversation with myself. Kinda like you're doing. This is how I'm spending my Thursday night. I'm no better than you. This game is so introspective, it's not even funny. Maybe that's what the developers were going for. It's a me simulator. Well, that's something I didn't want to have to come to terms with. Maybe I can just make Julian drink himself stupid, or, you know, have alcohol poisoning and die. Let's try it, shall we? I mean, the man passes out every time he pours himself a glass of wine, so he's sure to die sooner or later. And here we go, round 3. So when we come to, we're back to the same exact fucking spot in the kitchen, but at least this time we're about to have one of the most exciting moments of the game. We're going to stand up. Yeah, that's an exciting moment in this game, standing up. But don't worry, it's coming in a little while. You still have plenty of sitting down time to get through, so brace yourself for the excitement of that. We can glance around and look at the clock again, or, you know, look at the candle for no apparent reason like I just did there. But all in all, it really doesn't make much of a difference because we're still not sure if we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. The only good feedback we're getting is the fact that you get progressively more and more drunk as time goes on. Hey look, a pack of cigarettes, because you know, getting drunk wasn't bad enough. Let's also teach kids to smoke. But don't worry, young Julian has quite the ability to disorient you simply by standing up. He's so drunk that it makes me feel drunk the way he's moving around, but hey, don't worry about it. 3 glasses of wine will do that to you, I guess. Anyway, he stumbles over to the window, he's got the pack of smokes, so you know what he's about to do now. Hey look, a cool dinosaur drawing. If only we could, you know, look at that, but no, instead we have the option to use our smoking hand, and that's about the only thing we can do here. So now this becomes yet a different simulation game. We now have Smoking Simulator 2012. I guess if anything, it's probably useful to somebody who's already a smoker and wants to have some way of getting past the habit by just doing it virtually. Yeah, that's always a pleasant thought. This is a virtual smoking simulator to help people quit smoking. Makes perfect sense. As is the case with most people, Julian uses his time smoking for a little quiet introspection and to realize who and what he is and what he's doing with his life.
And hanging out with 20-year-old Japanese girls. It's very smooth.
Hey, Julian, I don't know who taught you what hanging out means, but I hate to break it to you, buddy. Being in your apartment alone is not hanging out with a 20-year-old Japanese girl. You got stood up, dude. The fact of the matter is, even this guy should be getting ready right about now to give up on her ever showing up, but hey, what are you gonna do? Whenever you're this lonely and this depressed, I guess even smoking cigarettes by yourself near your dinosaur drawings just brings a little bit of enjoyment to your day. So we get to push a bunch of other random buttons, as you can see there, because, you know, there's nothing more exciting than pushing Q's and W's and G's to try to move the character's, I don't know, eyebrow around. We could look at the clock if we wanted to, because that's always been an exciting option, looking at the clock from across the room. Or we could just continuously sit here and smoke away. I mean, hey, he's drunk, so he may as well also be smoking, right? It's an edgy game. Look at all the edge that they're giving us here. You can definitely tell it was made by an independent developer. I mean, there's no way a major studio would ever allow drinking, let alone smoking, in their games. But hey, if you were shooting for that mature rating and you didn't want to swear every 3 seconds, I guess this is the fucking way to go about getting it. So anyway, Julian continues to be dark and brooding like some kind of Twilight vampire on steroids. And eventually he realizes that his life is basically a piece of crap and that this girl's never going to show up. Or is she?
Appears her streaming hair. The black curls. Oh, fuck giving it up. Here she is. Fucking neighbours. Damn. Oh.
You know, as much as I hate this game and I'm not a fan of Julian, you really gotta feel bad for the guy. He finally thinks that this girl's showing up, and it ends up just being the neighbor kids. Anyway, we then get to play the most exciting part of the game, grabbing our coat and for some reason having the camera switch to grudge-o-vision and looking at our feet as some kind of demon baby scurries across the floor of the apartment. Well, I guess it's normal to hallucinate whenever you've been drinking 3 glasses of wine. So anyway, in the most shocking conclusion to a game ever, this happens. I'm not kidding, folks. This is the end of the game. This is the exciting plot twist that you expected to come up at the end. The clock. The clock was the enemy all along. I knew that there was a reason we could look at it over and over again. You have been playing Dinner Date. Yeah, I guess you have. Or I have, and you've been watching. Alright guys, this seems like a pretty good spot to wrap things up, being that we're stuck here in the credits, so basically, 1, thank you for watching this far. If you've put up with it all the way to this point, you realize how much I didn't enjoy this game and how much I wanted to plunge a knife directly into my eye. Thank you to Owen Patterson for giving me the opportunity to play a game that made me want to kill myself. And quite frankly, fuck you, sir. Fuck you right in the ass. As to anybody else out there who's still watching and wants to give me a game, you can give me a bad game and I'll play it and I'll make a video on it. Please give me something that I can make a commentary on. This thing just doesn't have much to say about it, and quite frankly, I never would have made this video if it wasn't for the fact that I promised myself I would make a video for every game that a fan ever sent me. So, until next time, see ya!